Hello.
Hello.
Oh, we live? Oh.
Wow.
All right, guys. Welcome to Hunters Hangout. This is season 11, episode 7. We have an amazing guest today, and we're all going to do devils in the details. You know, why you put me on a big screen for? I'm nervous, like I ain't been through this before. That's gonna be devils in the details, and it's not all set design. It's how you detail it all. It's going to be a great show, and we have some very experienced guests today, and we're going to hand it over to Phil and Pandora. They're going to tell you how you can win the prizes. Phil's going to introduce all the guests. We're going to have a great show tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Deoblo. So welcome everybody. We have a great show tonight for you guys.
Put Phil on big screen.
Want me big screen?
Hey!
No, but we have a great show for you guys tonight, as Diablo was saying, all detailing. We really were proud of the title we came up with, Devil in the Details. So we'll let that title speak for itself. And as we'll get into with some pictures, they have some amazing work that you guys are all going to see. And this is your chance to learn some techniques, get those questions in. If you have any supply questions or tool questions, this is your chance to really pick their brains. So without further ado, we have some prizes to give away tonight, and I'm going to pass it over to Pandora.
Pandora?
Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. We are super glad you're joining us. We are live tonight on both YouTube and Facebook. We're super happy to have you here. If you are over on Facebook, just a quick reminder to please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give StreamYard the ability for us to see your name over here so that we see more than just this Facebook user. So again, that's StreamYard.com/Facebook. And that will help us be able to see your names in the comments here as well. Prizes tonight. There's lots of them. And all you have to do to enter to win is to ask a question of our guests. That's it. Whether I get to your question or not, you're automatically entered. And that's all you need to know. So here we go. From Halloween Shirt Company, we have a free shirt. From Unsub Masks, we have a free mask.
I love free masks.
Oh, yeah. From Atmos Effects, we have the Hall of Haunts free download. From Ned's LEDs, we have a 12-volt deluxe sampler pack. That's one of each color that Ned's offers. From Monsters Alive, we have $25 off. And I see David out there in the audience tonight. Hello.
Hello, David.
And from Rotten Prop Works, we have a set of zombie arms. From Toxic Effects, we have Rotten Pumpkin number 4. From Fright Night Studios, we have a Bloody Hatchet. From Cobwebs and Candlesticks, we have a flat back.
You told me don't applaud, so
From Cobwebs and Candlesticks, we have 2 of his new flat-backed unfinished skulls. We're super excited about that tonight. From Drop Dead Design Studios, we have 25% off. And from Nightmare Makers, we have 1 unfinished skull. From 916 Productions, we have $25 off. From Froggy's Fog, we have a gallon of bog fog. Also, would like to say to everybody out there that's on their way to TaterCon as we speak, have a great time, guys. We'll see you when you get back. And whoever wins the gallon of bog fog tonight, your fog might be a teensy bit late.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. From Horror Ornaments, we have 1 free ornament. From Fright Props, we have $50 off.
Woohoo!
From Scare It Badges, we have $50 worth of free badges. From Haunted Hills Productions, we have a free mask, the Necro Nurse. And from Monster Misfits, we have a free bottle of Monster Blood. Thank you so much to our sponsors for these fantastic prizes. We are so grateful for you. So make sure that to all of our viewers out there, all our members, please make sure that you're going to visit them first Oh, yeah.
all your hunting needs.
Awesome.
And make sure when you get the prize that you post it, and have a little
Give a
respect,
shout out.
that they had given that shout out, and because they give away all this free stuff for you guys. We don't get anything, but they're giving it to you guys. So when you get your prize, just give them a little shout out, just for appreciation, please.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into the show.
Finish.
I'm going to start off with a guy maybe you guys have never seen before, but I don't know. But Bart, how about you give an introduction about yourself and where you're from there?
Hi, I'm Bart, and I am the, I guess you would say, general manager of Terror in the Corn. I am from Erie, Colorado, as of now, as hopefully forever. I love it here.
Unless I win the lotto.
Huh?
Unless I win the lotto.
Yeah. Am I telling my backstory? Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
background.
okay.
Yeah.
Started in, if you can't tell, all the gray, I'm showing my age here. I started in 92 at Haunted Verdun Manor, and I got to work under one of the late great pioneers in the industry, Lance Pope. Got to work with him until 2002, and with adding to Thrillvania and stuff like that. And from then on out, I've owned my own haunt for 7 years, and then traveled the country, going from haunt to haunt to haunt, and finally landing here in Colorado. So, but no, I just love doing this, and finally have the opportunity to do it full time.
Awesome. Now, Bart, I'm going to ask you, any inspirations you have really enjoyed over the past couple of years, or from the start?
Inspirations.
I know you're your own inspiration, but
no. I'm always researching. We're always researching.
Oh shucks, Bart! Don't say me. Come on.
Ever since I got into outdoor haunting, which is what we're doing now, Haunted Overload, man, those guys are phenomenal. I love the work they do, and they're great. So I always look at what they do and try to figure out how I could do big stuff like they can, because it's just they're phenomenal people.
All right. I respect anybody that works all through the winter. It's like the cold weather.
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, go ahead. What you can say?
No, go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bart.
Yeah,
we'll bring it over now to this trifecta team over here. That is. Oh man, that's at Dark Hour Haunted House. So I think we'll start with Boston. How about you, Boston?
Sweet.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Boston Pettit. I work for Dark Hour. Don't ask me title. I have no clue. Pretty much, I just handle whatever Alan needs me to. So, but I was brought down there to, me and Teddy were brought down there to build an escape room for Dark Hour. So we did that. How I got my start, I was 16, I think, and I kept bugging my local haunted house. Small town Nebraska. There's like 6,000 people that live in that town. It's a pretty small haunt, but I kept bugging them. I kept reaching out to them and being like, let me work. I want to work. This is cool. And I am young enough that there's an age requirement now. Like, I had to be a certain age to be hired, so I had to wait for that point. But started at this small haunt that still is one of the best run haunts in the country. I'll fight for that opinion. Jan Newth runs that. But it was a great place to get a start. And I remember doing my first season. And then after that, I was sitting with Jan and I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this more. It's really cool. And she was like, there's a whole industry out there. And I was like, huh? And so that's kind of where my roots are. And then kind of how I started to broach the industry is I used to go live on Haunters Hangout a lot. I know it look a lot different now, but some of you might just make that connection now. So I did makeup and stuff on Haunters Hangout a lot. and that's kind of how I got my name out there, I guess. It wasn't really for that purpose. I wanted to show people what I was doing. But then everything like kind of snowballed from there, and very quickly. So I started traveling. I traveled around the country for a couple of seasons, just doing makeup, acting, stuff like that. Just seeing as many haunted houses as I could, because that honestly was the best way that I could have gotten, inspiration or known what to do. Is just I saw so many haunts so quickly, and I'm very grateful for that experience. So at some point around like COVID-ish times, haunted houses were shut down. A lot of them, especially in my area, they were pretty shut down, which kind of bummed me out. So I needed to kind of divert into something else. I was like, I'm not going to waste time. The haunt industry as a whole is kind of shut down for a year here, so I can kind of breathe. So that's when I got into escape rooms, started building and fabricating escape rooms, and that's kind of more or less what I do mainly now. I do a lot of escape room stuff. I'm like 70% escape room, 30% haunted houses. So someone's at the door, I guess. But a lot of what I do is I make escape rooms for haunted houses. That's kind of the weird rut that I've fallen into. So that's kind of what I'm up to nowadays. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's excellent. Thank you, Boston. Right on.
And I remember you mentioning in your intro there, Teddy. So Teddy, you guys work together on escape rooms?
Yes, we do both work together currently for Dark Hour Escape. I'm also the casting director of Dark Hour proper, a scenic detailer for both, and a artist for Stiltbeast Studios as well. Yeah, I started in 2004 at a great haunted house in Louisville, Kentucky called the Baxter Avenue Morgue. That was my first haunt, my home haunt, the place I'll always consider home. But as we learn of the big, wide industry out there, and there's always an itch to do more. And that's why we do this full time now, is because we kept doing more until people were like, hey, you do too much and we're going to pay you for it. So I guess that's just kind of what it turned into. I've traveled, worked for quite a few haunted houses. And once the opportunity came, Alan said, you guys are coming with me. And that's where we are now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Teddy. And then we got the third one of the trio here, my buddy Rue. What's going on, man?
How you doing, guys?
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I started haunting 20-some years ago. I started at Alice Cooper's Nightmare. Actually, it was the very first haunt I ever worked for in Phoenix, Arizona. And then I bounced to a couple of other haunts across in the Phoenix area until I joined the military. And then I spent 10 years in the military. And anytime I wasn't deployed, I was working at haunted houses. And even when I was deployed, the Army found out that I built haunted houses. So I was building haunted houses for the Army.
Oh, damn, I did not know that. That's awesome.
I'm the only person I know that has gotten a medal for building haunted houses. So, yeah. And now I am the general manager for Stiltbeast Studios. I'm an artist here at Dark Hour. I do a lot of masks and props and those type of things here, set design stuff and decorating. I help out Alan with just about everything he needs, because I, just like everyone else, 6 years ago, stopped working for a haunt after I was out of the Army, or out of the Army, and was working for another haunt for a while, and things went bad there. And Alan called me up and said, "Hey, so you work for me now?" And that's kind of the way Alan works. He likes to catch falling stars, I guess. Is the way he
Yeah,
takes
but you
it.
cracked his back first, didn't you?
I can't get my arms around Alan most of the time.
Like you're working for me. You know, in case nobody knew it, Rue can crack some back, man. It is all.
Yes, he can. He also makes some badass blood too. Just FYI.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
thank you
awesome.
guys. We'll come back here and show some of your work, but I'm gonna bring it back to the top with Bart here and start sharing some of his photos for some detailing here. So Bart, what do we got here? This looks like an attic to me.
Yes. That's it. The third floor of the haunted schoolhouse and laboratory in Akron, Ohio. We redid the whole third floor. Again, I like to. What a lot of haunts don't do is when they design a room, they don't think of an actor in mind. They don't think of the scare. It's always come up with the scare. I have several pictures here of where I kind of want you guys to guess where the actor is, but again, as far as the detail, it was just, we found a lot of junk, put it up in there. As far as the walls go, it's all 2x4s and plywood. We have light boxes behind the windows, and we have a lightning machine up above. So all through the slats and through the windows, you get a lightning effect in the room. Again, it's just prop placement and all that. But actually, where that suitcase is where the actor comes out of.
This one here with the green on it.
No. Off
Over here.
to right below the clown.
The picture,
Yep.
where the picture's at.
Yeah, right below the clown picture. So the actor actually pops out of there.
That's
But
awesome.
again, it was just it's just a room that with a little pop scare, more of a ooh-ah type of room, and transition from two areas. So I have never built a barn before, and now I have. So this is the entrance into our Terra in the Corn. We built the barn because in between 2021 and 2022, in 2021 we had a 30,000 person jump in the haunt. Went from 20,000 to 50,000 people. We used to have people get into a enclosed trailer, and we'd drop them out in the middle of the corn, and they'd come to the town. But too many people became a safety issue, so now we had to walk them across the road into the attraction. So we built this as a entrance. You actually go in there, and we actually have a new character, Demetra, which is a witch, who's trying to take over the town from the Wells. It won't go into that, but again, the barn was actually pretty cool because, again, I've never built a barn before, and now I have. But again, we get from our local mill the wood, so we get a lot of rough cut wood and a lot of slab wood, and majority of this is the outside is made from that rough cut wood. It is really nice, and then of course you put some of that gray stain on it, which makes it look not new. And the spiders are for the spiders we got from Nevermore. Built the which you'll see later, the scarecrows. And the spider gate, I can't take credit for that. That's the owner, Jim.
Bart, Michelle would like to know, do you go to sales or junkyards, etc., when you're looking for your props for your rooms, etc.?
We go to we have Facebook Marketplace. Unlike Texas, which I love Texas because they're thrift stores, and then you got Canton, which, oh my gosh, you just get tons of stuff there. They don't have that in Colorado, so it's really hard to find. But I would say, I know in 2021 we changed about 60% of the haunt, and we went and did Marketplace pretty much all winter long and filled up a huge barn of nothing. So it's mainly Facebook Marketplace. You got to get on there every morning and look at the free stuff, or look at what you're trying to find, and then immediately contact them and go, "Hey, I'll be there now." So
looks amazing.
Yeah. Chad asks a great question. You said you design a room with an actor in mind. Do you add other things in there to supplement lack of actors, or does each room always have an actor?
No. Again, like this room that you're looking at doesn't have an actor in it. However, we do have a prop in the tub. So basically, we got a guy that's in bloody water, which is resin. We got him kind of hunched over. So you think he's somebody, but this is just a transition room. And so there's no actor in here. But again, it's just that, wait, is that person real? I don't, so there is that, trying to make them feel uneasy.
Tony would like to know, how do you create the distressed ceiling effect?
So that's pretty easy. It gets basically up there is plywood. Of course, you got 2x4 crossings. You got plywood up there, and then you take lath. If you do it, if not, you just cut plywood strips, and then of course you take and just bang up the ends, and there you go. I mean, it's really simple. Now again, it's having a ceiling without having a ceiling, because again, with the fire marshal, smoke's got to go somewhere. If the ceiling is below a certain point. So again, it's having a ceiling without having a ceiling. So again, having these edges go around will actually box off the room. Another thing we did is we made these 12-foot walls, so that way it made the room, even though it's kind of small, it made it massive.
Right.
And then,
what kind of lighting do you put up there? Is that just like a white light, or?
Well, actually, the lighting is that you see now, that's work lights. So.
That's what I was wondering.
The globe is your light that you have in there, and then we had a couple of candles around the tub, but we put the little scent things up there to make you look up. We wanted you to look up.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the lighting, and there's the globe.
Cobwebs would like to know, is Bart using the vinegar and steel wool weathered gray solution?
No, I'm not. I'm actually just using, it's a stain you can buy that's called All Weather Stain. And we use the heck out of it. It is awesome. So, but no, I've used that steel wool and vinegar effect before. That's pretty awesome too.
It works really well. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
This is from my haunt. And again, this is just a transition hallway. Again, just something pretty to look at as they go down. This is in between the walls, so we wanted to make sure like you went from one room to another room. And again, this is basically compound mud that we put on the walls, and then we took strips of plywood and just pushed it into it to make it come out.
Compound mud? You mean joint compound?
Joint compound mud.
Mud. Okay.
Yeah. The pipes are PVC pipes that we just painted with some sawdust and paint, and then added texture here and there. The ceiling, actually, the pipes up there are actually real. The ductwork is actually just plywoods painted silver. Really,
I'm gonna ask, because I know it's probably gonna be asked, but the cobwebs, how do you do all the cobwebbing?
That was a cobweb gun. It was just yeah. Rue knows I like the cobweb gun.
So much. He loves it.
Dude, I'm so like that. I'm just there.
Yeah.
Molly would like to know, when you decide on the decor, Bart, do you have a footprint done?
Yeah. I draw everything out before. I learned that at owning my own haunt. I learned that you can't. Sometimes you can wing it, but to get actually really good rooms, you gotta do some prep work. You gotta think about everything that you gotta buy, everything that's going to go in, and draw it all out.
Dude, I love that.
That's great.
This is the book we had at the Haunted Schoolhouse. We went ahead and revamped the whole storyline. So again, the storyline is that you had a librarian, and you went into her stories that she would tell. And so this was the big book. This is the very first room that you go into, and you would walk through that book. The really cool part about this which is an Easter egg, is the transition. You would go from story to story. You would go through pages that were actually all written out, and on those pages was actually what was actually going to happen next. If you actually stopped and read the pages as you went through them, you would know what was coming ahead. So, but again, the book was really easy. It was just a lot of just plywood and a lot of just angles. And this is actually painter's cloth. That's all that is. That's just painter's cloth that we just wrote on.
Like, is it like the canvas drop cloths?
Yep. It's the canvas.
Okay.
The canvas drop cloths. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, Sean's got a good question. How did you get the print on the fabric, and did you have to change that out a lot throughout the season?
Shockingly, no, we didn't have. It's still up as of today, and we basically I did it out on the computer, projected it onto the fabric, and then traced it all out. And again, not fun. And then I had a girl called Mel. I called her Little Mel, and she would go in there with a paintbrush and fill all that text out.
Okay. That's no easy task on a canvas drop cloth, because it soaks up the paint real fast and everything. Yeah.
So it's lasted till today. Of course, I don't think the book's there anymore, but again, the story pages throughout between the scenes are still there. This is you're looking at the two same things. That basically the left is what I got from Home Depot. It's just those brick boards, and then of course the right is after I was finished. What you would do to get that effect is you get your colors, your red, your browns, your blacks, your whites, all those earth tones, and then you put them all in a tray, and then you get pieces of foam that are the size of the brick, and you take that and you kind of do each color on that foam, and then you go through and you just go around, and it gives you that type of look. And then you take mortar repair, and you actually put that in the mortar areas. And the hallway that's in the office hallway for Factory of Terror. He wanted a really nice looking hallway, and I said I could do that really easy. So, but it's actually, it makes it look really good. I was actually shocked and surprised with it. It's my first time trying it. I go, I'll try it this way, and it worked out.
Yeah, and Tony was like, are these brick panels? And yes, I believe these are the pre-made panels that you can get at the hardware store, right?
Brick panels, yes.
And Alan did have a chime in with a few things that are awesome are fun.
Yes. This is from the haunt house. This is the back area. Just the simple stuff that I look at here is all the foliage that you see is camo netting and a couple of plants and stuff that you get in Hobby Lobby. I mean, but a lot of it is it's really easy to do. That's foam work that we have. The rust on the is painted on the door. But it's just really easy as far as doing. You just find sticks, put them up. The foliage and all that is. What do you do is when a lot of people put camo netting up, they just put the camo netting as just straight, and you got to break up that line. And so what you do is you get another piece of camo netting and you cut it up and you hang strips here and there, and that breaks up that straight line of just having just a camo net up there.
Yeah, I seen that in person, man. That was an amazing scene. I was like, damn. I mean, even if you look at the picture right here, it was even more awesome in person.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. The tree we got from another haunt, that's the tree of death. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, that we got that from another haunt. Again, this is another scene from the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. Actually, where I'm standing is where you walk into the room. You actually walk around these desks and go into the area right here above the girl. Again, they got the two props here. You walk in, and that's only in the room. So you're like, okay, nothing going to happen in this room. But actually, the actor area, the actor scare, is in that cabinet right next to the teacher. That's where the actor comes out of. So again, it's working into those scares, and being able to hide an actor for an actor to be able to pop out and to retreat, especially the busier your haunt is. When it's busy, that's another thing you got to tackle whenever your haunt goes from low numbers to very high numbers. Is you got to deal with a lot of Congo lines. So you got to be able to have an actor be able to pop out, pop back in, and this is one of those scenes.
I'm actually kind of curious about some of the details in this. The tops of the desks are pretty grimy and worn looking. Then there's the lath on either side of the chalkboard, that's pretty grimy and detailed out. Can you talk a little bit about those details and what the choices that were made for the stuff that's on the desks back there? And
sure thing. So I will tell you the most awesome thing about the working at Akron Honda Schoolhouse was John Eslich. John Eslich owned Eslich Wrecking Company. So John would go tear buildings down, and he was going to go tear a school down. I had 2 days of going in there and grabbing before he tore it down. I mean, it was just like, because so the props I got for there was just insane because of his wrecking company and being able to go into buildings and grab stuff before they tore it down. But the desks and all that, actually, they came that way. They're actually already pretty grimy. You're looking
Fair
at
enough.
Right
Sometimes we get lucky, right?
yeah, I know. You got books piled up on the desk. You got a desk lamp. You got a typewriter. The chalkboard. Actually, that's a school that was built in the 1920s, and that's actually an original chalkboard from the school. So we put that up. As far as the walls crumbling and all that, Home Depot had this texture paint that you could texture your ramps or decking or anything like that. And I put that on the walls, and I would tell you don't do that because it doesn't take distressing very well. Later, but I wanted to have texture on the walls. But so yeah. And again, of course, we did the lath and the compound mud on that, and of course distressed that. But if you can see, it's still in the works because you got a pin and some screws there. But again, it's just you've got an old radio up there. It's just you just got props, and it's just all about prop placement. Where would this go good? Where would this look good? And sometimes you put a scene together, and then you go, I don't know, and you start moving stuff around again. But another thing John would do is he'd buy these. Now the teacher was actually made before we even got there. They had some very talented people that would take mannequins and do these things to them, and it was just phenomenal. But of course, John bought a lot of props, so again, there was a lot of distraction as far as props at the Akron High Schoolhouse and lab. But
now, Bart, you mentioned something that I wanted to ask a question about. Distraction. Yes. When you are detailing, do you try to distract the patron into a direction to be able to have a pop-out scare or something in that aspect?
Yeah, because I mean, we arranged the desks on that to do that. But as far as distressing and all that, it depends. You can also, to get somebody to move around or to go where you want it, it's normally maybe some bright colors or a light. For some reason, people will they'll go to a light. Like the year that we screwed up on as far as at Terror of the Corn, when we went from 20,000 to 50,000 people, we made it where our cornfield could fit 20,000 people, no problem. But we made it where they had these loops that would just go back to each other. And of course, we would put lights down those paths, and everywhere you saw a light was the wrong way to go. And so,
nice.
That was clever.
They always go towards a light. But as far as distressing and all that, it all depends on the scene. But yeah, you could definitely do some kind of paint work or distressing to make them go that way.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well, thank you, Bart. We'll come back to you here in a minute. But I'm going to pass over to the trio here. And guys, I know we got a lot of photos to go through. So if you see something that's yours, speak on it. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up now. So I think this one was from Teddy in Boston. So.
Oh yeah. So these are disgusting textures. This is something that I worked on with Rue. This came out of a plaster mold. We were making basically just the texture. But the big thing that we wanted to show off with this is that not only does this look gross and has tons of Rue goo or whichever Rue product is on it, it also is blacklight reactive
and Rue blood.
Yeah, it's got a lot of different stuff on it. But we sculpted it, we molded it, we pulled it out. to our liking, but all the extra details and the fact that it's also blacklight reactive, it looks like it looks similar but almost completely different in blacklight. Is the real shiner with these. But yeah, this is like the first thing I think I did at Dark Hour when we got there. So yeah, as we sculpted these out and got them painted, just wanted to get a nasty, like somewhat organic. Yeah, this is under blacklight, so it just we wanted the room that they're in, it shifts from blacklight to natural light, so we wanted them to look good under both. We wanted to show off all those deep textures that are naturally already there, and we painted it accordingly.
So you got that all on the walls? Is that what that is?
Essentially, yeah. It is. It's more a ceiling texture. We put them on the ceiling, so they have to walk under it.
Even better.
Yeah,
Right, right.
badass. Once like we're very nitpicky with our detailing, but during the day it doesn't look great. But at night with lighting, man, this looks badass.
Yeah. And now, of course, Rob would like to know who your go-to blood product.
My go-to is Stiltbeast Studios Rue Blood.
And
what I do.
And every variant of it. I've
And
had
customs.
I've had the honor of getting custom work from Rue and also helping with some of the newer products, just like the thought tank part of it. It's awesome. That is a big uvula, which is also covered in a custom Rue product, the fleshy goo. So yeah, that is a interconnected piece of that of the last texture. This is also UV reactive, although I don't know that I took any pictures of it. But yeah, this is nasty uvula.
This was also made for the purpose of being a light fixture. So we stuck a light in it, so it's glowing uvula.
It's awesome.
This is just an up close texture. So for Transworld this year, we went really hard onto like mushrooms and like more natural textures. So we had a section in the booth that was showing off some mushroom panels that we make. And this is a texture that we did with mostly silicone caulk. Silicone caulk and a little bit of like why am I forgetting the name of the fabric that it is that we sell? Oh no.
Moss cloth.
Moss cloth. There it is. Moss cloth and silicone caulk. All of the texture that you're seeing in this portion is just some moss cloth like interweaved in there sparsely. And then your house paints and black silicone caulk.
Man, it looks awesome.
Do you paint in blacklight when doing UV or 3D scene work? Yes.
That was Karen that asked that. Thank you, Karen.
Yep.
Go back and forth, usually.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
For that last piece that we showed, we definitely went back and forth because it had to look good in both. These textures are epoxy clay, painted with house paints, just like normal. We were building a tree basically it was a tree with a big hole in it. So we wanted to make it look a little bit more organic, like the hole was like moving towards the center. You can kind of see the hole in the top right hand corner there. But yeah, epoxy clay sculpted onto the surface.
What type of tools do you use?
That was pretty much all hands and then a spatula.
The greatest tool.
I'm still trying to get Teddy to use more tools.
Yeah, I'm honestly, this was the first thing I've sculpted ever in my life. So, yeah, I'm still learning, and Rue and Alan are both trying to guide me through that process.
Yeah, hey, Boston, by all means,
I got different glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a bigger picture of it.
Yeah, very cool.
This is a little bit more of the wall with the mushroom like and vines and stuff. Moss cloth, silicone, and a lot of distressing. Mostly just house paint.
Yeah, watered down house paint.
Yeah.
Danny would like to know, what is your best tip for creating textures?
Oh, I'm teaching a whole class about that at MHC. And there's a
Oh,
lot.
oh.
The best tip I think I could give you is just Home Depot. Home Depot just has anything that you would need to create a lot of textures, and don't be too. I'm not too particular about what I'm doing because I want to make everything look natural. And if I focus too hard on it, then it starts to look a little too uniform. That's kind of for me, especially when I'm doing large areas. I design everything, but when it comes to actually trying to nail down textures on walls like this wall right here, it's a little bit random. This is the textures on these walls are wood glue and sawdust mixed up in a big vat, and then I put it on like you would put on Droid compound with a big spatula. A little bit of water for some areas so I can get it to run more than others. But that is essentially what we did on top of wood. It's just your typical wood stain on top of slat boards. So
Yeah, and as the wood representative of this photo, that's just 1x4. We didn't use. I know Bart showed some thicker cuts of wood. This is a small, like 7-foot room in height, so we chose to go for 1x4, just because it was cheap and easy. And then more cutting than you ever want to do in your life, and that'll be the slats. And one interesting thing that we like to do in our work process, well, I force it upon them to think about tech as well. So we actually installed LED light strips behind the walls before we put the front panels on. So when this room is in show lights, it has a really nice glow behind the walls. So it's important, it's
That
details
you can see through the slats.
Yeah.
You can see the glow through the slats.
It's details like that I know that get overlooked a lot, or that people kind of just don't see. Is there are things beyond like paint or old chairs you find on Facebook that you can do to bring out details in your set, because those lights don't get seen much. It's not a primary source, but when you notice it, you're like, oh, that's cool. So
Yeah, or maybe it's taken for granted, but it still adds to the overall depth of the scene. So viewers might take it for granted, but if it weren't there, that would probably be noticed, right?
definitely would notice if they weren't on.
Yeah. And Mike Clark would like to know, do you have an idea in advance of the textures you're trying for, or do you just go with however it turns out?
No, I always have an... Yeah, no, I definitely know what I want it to look like before I start. When it comes to applying it, I have to curb myself from being too tedious and specific, because there are things that I want 100%, like how I want the corners of these shelves, how I want the build up in the back of the corner, how like it looks like things have just been piling up in the back, and I want the droops coming off the front of it. Those are things that I predetermine. But when it comes to like the wall texture and how I want that to look is when I start to veer off into, I'm going to scrape this way 30 times, see what happens. And I'm going to scrape the opposite way 30 times, see what happens. And the good thing about creating textures like this is you can fix your problems. So I'm never scared to try anything, because when I first started learning how to airbrush, the best advice I ever got was send it. Like, just send it. You have to send that line and go, because if you start trying to use it like a pencil, it doesn't work. I apply that to a lot of different things. So that's a
Great
close-up.
advice too.
It's just a close-up of the same wall, just showing like how that texture sticks, and how we made a point to block off a little bit of the slat. That way it would like show those inconsistencies and natural, kind of like a natural buildup, instead of having like the slats all 100% visible all the way through. We tried to purposely break that up so you have that there.
I'm going to interrupt just for 1 second here, guys, and point out that Katrina has a great idea. And yes, I agree. Drinking word is hereby officially textures. Cheers.
Yay, lemonade.
You will die.
Coke Zero.
Water.
Hey, water over here too, but hey, we can still cheers to it. We're with you. All right. Now, Hashan Manor, Miles would like to know, what is the theme specifically of this room as we're looking at all these textures?
Whoa, cheers.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Boston. I'm gonna be very vague about it.
I will be less vague. Sorry, Alan. So it's kind of like, it's like a weird, trippy treehouse almost, but not trippy in the way of like acid in the 70s, but like Stranger Things ish. That's why, you know, it's a very old school like treehouse look with all of the wood, but then there is the light glowing through and stuff like that. So it had to kind of meet this boundary between, you know, it can't be like completely trashed because it is still a nice treehouse, but it does have to look like very aged. So it's not intentionally dirty. It's just been there for a long time. So that's kind of what we had Teddy trying to execute on, you know, the distressing specifically.
Excellent. Rue, feel free to chime in here as well, my friend.
A lot of these has just been these two's like main focus stuff right
Gotcha.
now. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got your
I'm sure
focus.
my stuff will come up.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is one of the exteriors from there, from the same area that we're in. So that the drooping texture is also still wood glue and sawdust. However, this is different in that we used some. I want to say we used distilled water to make it a little bit loose, so we get the actual drooping of it, to where it looks almost cartoony. Because this is basically a different dimension, so we wanted to show that texture off. The painting on the wood is all wood stain, and this was not house paint. If anybody at all, which is probably not likely, but if you did take my class at Transworld, I use a lot of aerosol. So all of the distressing on this was done with aerosol, spray paint, rattle cans, and mixed with alcohol and water, different stuff like that. Back to the mushroom wall, same thing. Yep, this is once again black silicone caulk paints and like very watered down paints. Luckily, all of the things that look like they would be stippled on or sponged on is actually just breaking up spray paint with alcohol. So you can put your alcohol on the wall, spray it with spray paint. It'll stick a little bit, but once you start misting it again with alcohol, it'll start breaking up and going into these chunks, and you see the runs of the color underneath. As well, for the thicker black parts, black silicone caulk.
What part is the silicone?
It was. I would have to. So basically, anywhere on the vines where it's hard black, that is all black silicone caulk.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just on top of the moss cloth.
And the vines were shredded moss cloth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Okay. Scott would like to know what has been one of the most surprising mediums used for a texture.
A egregious amount of truck bed liner. Like an egregiously sprayed amount of truck bed liner. I just wanted to see what would happen if we would spray rubberized anything on a wall and just stipple it out, and you can get some pretty gnarly stuff with it. So
Cool. Great tip.
One of my favorite texture things that is surprising kind of is cooking liquid nails. That's one of my favorite really strange textures. Is if you take
Okay, wait a
heat
minute.
gun
And you said,
Yeah,
okay.
What do you do with that?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, so you take a heat gun to it. Is that what you said, Rue?
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
Keep
boil
going.
the outside layer of liquid nails basically, and it creates tree bark.
it's cool.
Sweet.
Like if you draw a comb through it and then cook it with the heat gun, you basically are creating tree bark, and it's really cool.
Oh,
You have
shit.
no idea how much I needed that advice for this year. Thank
You
you.
just changed a lot of stuff right there, man.
Yeah.
My mind's like, there.
This creature, actually, Bart, do you recognize what this is?
No.
Originally,
No.
that's the clock demon.
What?
Redone.
Oh, wow.
This is we turned it into a goat. This is a push puppet that we have at the haunt. That from the nose down, it is from an old prop that we used to use, and from that up is a build up that we built this goat prop out of.
Very cool.
And yeah, he's pretty fun. That's we call him Grundy. This is now Wendigo Grundy, but yep, he's He's a lot of spray foam built up, and pool noodles, of course. And lots of loose chunks of fur.
There's always a little bit of hops in your props.
The props. Yep.
This was I believe this is Distortions prop that I totally repainted. And that's all blacklight reactive paint on this guy. He's very, very bright. This is the cabin. This is actually one of the first rooms I ever did for Dark Hour. This is our hunting cabin. Those are actual there are cardboard logs making log walls in this cabin, which is kind of neat. That's a very different way of doing that. That I take that thin X board, put it between 1x2s, and create a curve out of it, squeeze it between the two, and then fill it with joint compound in order to hold it in place.
Dude, that's like an awesome idea. Oh my god.
And it's super light.
Another check.
Way easier than doing logs, that's for sure.
Right. Another check.
Mm-hmm.
And that fireplace was a stone fireplace that we already had.
Hey, Bart, forget you, lumberyard man. We got cardboard, baby.
It's just that X board that you get they use it. It usually comes in big giant rolls, and then I'll take the rolls and I'll cut the whole roll in half in order to create longer strips. So when I roll it out, it's just a 1 foot wide strip.
Beth would like to point out that you guys all have such awesome psychedelic ideas because you're always high from huffing all the fumes of all this.
Don't
I
give
hope
away
that
our
there are
secret.
respirators happening around
There's
there.
probably some truth in that.
Always wear your PPE, guys. Come on.
Always
We
wear
are
your
totally
PPE.
known for wearing our PPE all the time.
Oh my God.
What's that?
This is Crazy Jim's bait check. This is in our swamp scene at Dark Hour. A lot of people worked on this. A lot of different people. I had some small parts in building on this, but it's a good looking scene. I think Bart might have worked some on this.
I worked on the inside, but that was when it was Grandma's shack.
Yep. This is back to the cabin again. Just another angle of that same wall.
So one of the interesting things, I didn't work on this scene, but something that I appreciate about this scene, there's actually a boo scare. So there's this sound, lights, everything. And the button is hidden on the left side on the mantle, that fur. The kick pedal is hidden there. And then you can see the speaker down by the fireplace. So that's something, again, with integrating tech as a detail, finding ways to, hide it. It doesn't have to be a specific scare spot. Like I know Bart had someone coming out of a suitcase. You can do that with your tech as well. Finding ways to integrate it within your scene, because nobody would ever know. The first time I walked through here, I think Rue flipped up that fur, and I was like, no way. I was like, that's so smart. So that's something else to consider as well.
Yeah, the scare actually is coming there. That pelt on the left side there, hanging like right in front of the camera. There's a row of those pelts, and actually the Stilt character generally hides behind those. So, and you turn the corner entering from that side of the room. And they can just reach over and hit that button with their hand and come out.
Just to back up for 1 second, Stephen would like to know how you guys paint the pool noodles without it flaking off. Or does it eventually flake off over time?
We don't really have a lot of problem with it flaking off. Sometimes we'll coat it with Super 77 spray, or we'll use contact cement, give it a light coating, watered down contact cement. It's or not watered down, but it thinned out with a bunch of naphtha. You can thin it out real thin, and then it paint it onto things and use it as a building coat or a primer.
Okay. Excellent.
This is our cellar scene at Dark Hour. This is a really fun scene. Another scene that just about everybody worked on at some form or another, doing something here. This has a really fun texture on the walls that is joint count. It's basically monster mud with styrofoam beads mixed into the monster mud and then spackled onto the wall to create this really, really dirt-looking texture.
It looks really good. You
And
got a
then
close
there's
up. We got a
a lot
close up
of-
at that. No.
I don't know if we do. There's a lot of amber shellac there dripping down the corners.
Everybody loves amber shellac, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Little
good.
amber shellac with some water. That's great.
Dude, you're not a honer unless you have some amber shellac, man.
This is our Shake Shack, which was built years and years and years ago. Flex Seal truck bed liner we use for pool noodle priming too.
Thank you,
I saw
Stacy.
Stacy commented
Yep.
that.
Yes,
Thank you,
she did.
Stacy. This is our Shake Shack. This was done mostly by Chris Melton. That's on our team also, but was something that a lot of people worked on also. This is based on it was an actual account of a bunch of Sasquatch attacking a cabin, and this is one of those rooms that's on airbags all the way around, so it shakes and moves, and it really seems like the Sasquatch hands that are sticking through it are actually making this whole cabin lurch back and forth.
It is awesome.
This is a closer view of the canning cellar, and that is the roots coming down right there is Loctite foam with mulch kind of packed into the outside layer of it.
That's smart too. Like that.
This is we call this the Queen of Small Spaces, or
Yeah, that looks really cool.
she's real fun. This is a fun prop scare, actually, not prop scare, but scene set up for a scare, that it's half of a coffin, and the back side of that coffin is actually hollowed out, and it goes to the actor run in behind that, so they can just hide inside of that coffin there's a curtain, a satin sheet that goes down the back of that coffin, so they can stand inside of it, and it looks like they're completely encased in the coffin, and they can just get a little reach out scare, and it works phenomenally.
Very cool.
Mike's Haunted Woodworks would like to know: are the jars in the tanning room glass? And I
The
believe
jars
that
in the
someone else
canning room
asked-
are not glass. They are
Okay.
all plastic jars that we ordered them off of Amazon, I'm pretty sure. And we got hundreds of them, but they are all plastic jars, and they're filled with different colored dyed mulch in order to give them all different textures.
And I believe someone else asked how they're secured down to the shelves as well.
They are glued down, hot glued down.
Hot glue.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about like creepy chairs being upside down, and it just.
This is actually a scene that Teddy and I built together.
It just works, man. it's
kind of an upside down room, and lots of chairs upside down. That whole desk is upside down. It's hard to tell, but there's papers all coming down the wall off of that desk that are like the papers are falling off of the desk. We ordered the jars from U.S. Plastics. There we go.
Yep.
Thanks,
there
Alan.
You go.
It's awesome. I for some reasons, like the upside down rooms, the upside down chairs, For some reason, it's just creepy.
Oh yeah, the stack of chairs is.
Yeah.
I think we have a few of them. Throughout dark hour.
Awesome. Well, we are back at the top of the hour here, and this is the. Oh, I'm not even visible, am I? Hi. Hey.
Hello, welcome
Hey,
back,
hello.
Billy Cheese. Choo-choo.
Yeah. We are back at the top of the hour, so it's our nice little time to say welcome for anybody who's new, and we have some amazing prizes from our awesome sponsors. All you have to do to win these prizes is ask a simple question to anybody on the panel tonight, and that enters you in for a chance to win those said prizes. So, get to asking questions. But
There's plenty of them actually out there. So I did
Yes.
want to real quick make sure everybody knows that even if I do not get to your question tonight, you are automatically entered to win those prizes from our sponsors, whether the question is asked or not. And for our fabulous guest tonight, if you do have any time to go back and take a look through the YouTube page as well as the Facebook group questions, we would greatly appreciate that. And so would the members for the questions that we just didn't have time to get to. There's lots of great ones out there for tips, tricks, and techniques that you guys are sharing with us tonight. So we appreciate you as much as we appreciate them. Thank you. Yeah.
You know, there's some cool stuff too when I got to put my glasses on because I can't see. Like, shh, what am I copying?
Speaking of cool stuff, I mean, man, look at this.
Some beautiful textures right there.
They had this at dark hour when I was working at dark hour. That was the cool thing about working at dark hours is doing the detail stuff because where I'm at now, it's hard to get down to that level. So that was really awesome. They had they're foam, but they had these. I can't remember where they got them from, but they were just sitting there. And I think one day I sit there and just grabbed them out and thought, we'll put them up in a scene somewhere. I don't think we ever did, but the original is the very back, and then I spray painted it silver, and then took some various other different spray paints, and then added some stipple brushing, and created some of this texture from like a sea sponge with some paint, and of course with some amber shellac at the very end in water. But it's just texturing. I use some like a cherry brown. And I think some bright orange as far as the house paint goes.
Bart, is there a preference for you as a base to start with, like, say, a white, a brown, a gray, or does it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. However, if I'm doing walls and I really want people to actually see the distressing, I always use a bright color as far as a base because the distressing will show really, really well, especially in haunt lighting. So.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just one of those things. I just had some extra time, which is shocking that I had some extra time at dark hour because we're always doing something, and so. But this is again, I just showed just a little detail on just a door. I mean, basically, it was watered down house paint it was a white door for a base, and then I used a red mahogany stain. Which actually looks shockingly good once I put it on, because again, most of the time I just start experimenting. I don't really have a rhyme or reason, and I just put something on. I go, oh, it looks cool. Okay, I'll do the rest of it like that. Or if it doesn't look good, I go, oh, I'll leave that little area, but I'll do something else. And so, yeah. But again, it's just watered down paint. The same with behind the door is the two-tone. No, there's no glass. That is just as far as that's just bars there that they had on the door. It was already there. I just needed to distress the door. It had no distressing whatsoever. Neither did the walls. I did two-tone on the walls. You'll see a lot more of that later. It depends, Dylan. It depends on what kind of stain I use compared to paints. It's it all depends on the project I'm working on or the environment. Because again, outside, stains work a lot better as far as distressing than actual paint does. Especially here in Colorado, with how dry it is, and the sun is incredibly. It'll dry your paint before you even get it on the wall. This is a facade we built. Really, this is just basically to show everybody how cool my backdrop is when I work.
Right.
Super, yeah.
Don't
super
have that in
jealous of
Texas.
Every day.
It's awesome.
This is what we did is, again, since we're not dropping people off in the corn anymore, also too, I wanted to keep people very immersive as far as into the haunt. I didn't want to show them the outside world at all. This is the corn is over to your right there, and they'll actually come into this area. We had fenced it off. I got another facade in front of this facade now. That way, it boxed it all in. But again, I used that. What's it called? Weathered stain that you can buy. I used that on the wood to create that look, and then we actually used some accent stains for the doors and the windows to kind of make them pop a little bit. But again, I used the rough cut wood that we used. So where do we get the wagon? I stole that from the owner. He has a graveyard. They have tons of stuff up there. I just drive around and I send pictures to the owner. Hey, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? So yeah, yeah. But the wagon is from up there at his house that he's had sitting in this what we call the graveyard. And I kind of went to him and I go, hey, that's been sitting here for 2 years. Are you doing anything with it? And he goes, no. I said, can I use it? And so I actually brought it down.
Nice.
This was also at Dark Hour. They were doing a show that they have before you go into the haunt, and it was the vampire year that we had. I think it was 2019. And
It's my favorite year.
And oh yeah, I know, right? Alan had these galvanized panels, and he wanted to make them look kind of dirty and dingy. It's supposed to be I think it was an old warehouse. I remember, I might be wrong. And he wanted to make those kind of rusty or old. And I was like, okay, these bright galvanized things. And again, I took a piece, took it back to the paint room, and played with it because I really didn't know how to make galvanized look old. And so I eventually used some medium gray flat spray paint for the base layer, and then did a little bit of like dark brown reds and some brown, and then hit it with some amber shellac and water. That's what you got.
That's really cool. It's yeah.
This is for you guys that want to kill your arms and make foam look like wood. So basically, this is some foam that I took, and I basically took a wire brush and just scraped it down, and it actually makes it look like weathered wood. And then of course you'll coat it and then paint it. It's actually it's just going. Again, most of the stuff is just okay. I want to do this, and then you do some research, and then you just go do it. And of course, sometimes it turns out awesome. Sometimes it doesn't turn out at all, and you have to restart it. But I mean, that's basically what I do all the time. It's just like, okay, I want to do this. How do I do it? I don't know. I'll just start, just go along with it. So,
what'd you coat it with that didn't take away the texture?
What is it? It's a cement. I can't think of it. It's a non-granular Portland cement and some glue, some Type Bond glue. I think it's Type Bond 2, and you mix that together and you run it through a hopper, and it gives you a nice texture. And again, as long as you don't, again, to have that detail, again, that was for a classic Transworld, is that I didn't heavy it too much. Normally, if I do, I'll heavy it at the bottom where feet will hit it.
Right.
But again, I'll leave it pretty thin on top.
Great question from Danny. What is something you wished you knew about distressing when you first started that would have made your life a bit easier?
That's a good question. That is an awesome question. Like I'm not gonna lie. I have been jotting notes down for Dark Hour guys. I'm like, ooh, I didn't know about that. as far as what I wish, of course, it's always getting with other people and learning new tricks and all that. I mean, that's the way I look at things.
Community powwows, yes.
I am never, what I do is never good enough. There's always something better out there, and I always look at that. And so I'm always learning, no matter what. And then, of course, it's just, again, I would say more or less when I first started, I didn't know anything about distressing until I actually owned my own haunt, and then I just started doing it. I wish that I knew a little bit more about paint and water way before I started doing it, because I used a lot of aerosols, and it looked like a lot of aerosols. So I didn't learn the paint water trick for several years. I wish I would have known that. Otherwise, my scenes would have looked a lot better when I first started hunting.
Loctite foam and liquid nails are my two favorite things on the planet.
I've got it in the notes. This is a cool scene that we did at Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. This is a scene you actually walk through right there, and you'll come up actually into the viewing area and then walk back down. Again, this is not a scary, it's more a theatrical area. The doctor would sit there with his patient and talk to you as you came in. You'll see the room later through those doors. What you do is you always have a prep room, and then you have where they get the bodies forward to prep them, to bring them out to do the studies and stuff like that. A lot of this is plywood and 2x4s. You got, as far as the lighting, we found the surgical light at a medical place that sold old equipment. The screen back here, it had lights behind it. We had light boxes. So we had all the windows around the scene lit up. But, and of course, which is what I've never done before, was we actually, the base of where the brown is, that's stained. So we actually started out with a stain and stained everything and then distressed it. It was a very different thing that I've ever done before.
Very interesting. And Trish would like to know, have you ever gone overboard and had to dial it back, right?
Nope. I learned when I drew in high school, my teacher would always sit there and say, I'd come up with her with a drawing, and she like, "Are you done?" And I would go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Go draw for another hour." And I kept that with my life as far as doing artwork, is always, okay, when you think you're done, put in a little bit more time into it. This was a cool scene. I was honored to be at Dark Hours, their Frankenstein scene. And these are a lot of pipes that we put in there. Again, probably too much detail because these pipes sit up about 7 feet high. So the amount of detail I probably put in these pipes was probably non-existent, except for the lights on tour. And so, but again, there were black pipes, there were PVC. I know they had these resin bolts that they already had that I put on there. But I basically put a layer on there and then distressed it with different colors here and there. And then I took some Super 77 adhesive and sprayed gunks of it on there, and then took a little rag and just dabbed it, which created the layers that you have. So it makes it, it just adds just layers to the actual pipes.
You can boil Super 77 adhesive also to create a cool blister effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the room I had. This is the prep room. This is what I was looking at, what I had to work with when we first did it, and that's what it started out to be. However, at Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, they would have these insane heavy pieces of equipment, and I asked, I was like, "How did y'all get this up here?" Because I'm not taking it down. And so everywhere you see in a lab, there's a cabinet, there's a big piece of equipment inside of it, because I wasn't taking it down. But in the scene, as far as the distraction is exactly what you're looking at. You got the body on the table, you got the crazy zombie nurse behind her, you got the person up there, you got all the medical equipment on there, you got the slop sink. However, off to your side is a metal cabinet. and that's where the actor is. So the actor actually hits you because, again, this is an area they kind of bunch up in, especially after the viewing area that they go. And so you had to push them out of that room, so they would hit you from behind and push you out of that room, but that's where the actor is. Again, different material as far as the walls. That's actually a concrete wall. Straight ahead and off to the right is a plywood wall. So again, with doing Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, you see the two-tone in the paint. I did that for every floor. So on the third floor, you had blue and white. On the second floor, which is this floor, the green and white. On the fourth floor, you had yellow and white. It just kind of signified the floor that you're on. And then, of course, a lot of the paint is the house paint with the water added to it, and just going around and spraying here and there and until you're happy with it.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
This is at Terra in the Corn. This is something I built last year. Again, going to your local mill, and this is called slab wood. Right now, I could buy a bundle of these for $50. I mean, it's insanely cheap, and you could build a lot of great stuff out of this. This is our pumpkin bridge. Went ahead, build a huge facade around it, build all that. That's actually 96 carved pumpkins. We got a lot of
I'm a
corn
sucker for
stalks.
pumpkins, man.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Oh my God.
And
Yeah,
then,
I
of
like
course,
that.
they're all hanging. They're all lined up. It's just a wow factor in our haunt, and which is basically what this is. We don't have any actors in there, so because again, you get an actor in there, everybody starts acting crazy. Funkins get destroyed. So,
Damn it.
Well, speaking of getting destroyed, do you find that when people are walking through this, they mess with the pumpkins at all?
yeah, they have. I think they've knocked a couple of them off the thing. We haven't glued down, but shockingly not as bad as we thought. We were like, oh man, they're just going to destroy this thing. And shockingly, the only one that got destroyed was from our tech department, who dropped a Funkin whenever we were taking it down.
Damn it.
I know, right? I was just wanting to show y'all guys the rust technique that I use. Again, the rust products that you could buy at Transworld and from vendors and all that is phenomenal if you're in natural lighting. I mean, hands down, awesome. However, we're dealing with hot lighting, and hot lighting is very dark and all that. So to get your distressing, as far as your rust, to show, I paint mine on. So basically, I use two different paints, and I use a sea sponge to actually sponge it on. You basically take a bright orange, and then you take like a reddish brown, and you go in with the orange on one sponge, and then you come in with the brown. And again, forgot one detail: you actually have to wet down your sponges and kind of make them damp. Not where they're dripping, but where they actually have a little bit of dampness to them. And you just start stippling around. If you look off to your left, you'll see the orange and the brown. But if you look and you get a little bit more detailed, you'll see a little bit of brown here where it looks like it's starting to rust. So you're just adding those little details to it where you look like, okay, that's starting to rust, but it's really rusting here.
Can you zoom in on the bit on the left there? Yeah.
Yeah, go down right there. So if you look up below the hazard sign, you can kind of see the brown rust right there, and a little bit farther down. But it's just areas, and like, of course, if you see the real bright, of course they'll start teetering out just to the brown. And that way it just has the layers of different textures or different rust. And then the right side is basically up. The right side that's basically the lantern that I got. I went in the same with the reddish brown and a bright orange. Went in there and just basically just dabbed everything with a sponge, and then of course amber shellac and water to finish it off.
Dude, that's beautiful, man, right there.
trying to see what photos we might get to here. Let's do this peeling effect here.
Yeah, that's a great effect. Again, slats with the plywood, and then of course you paint the plywood a color. You put in the area you want to have this effect. You just paint latex on there. I usually use mask latex because it's really thick, and paint that on there, and then you paint the other color on top of it, and then you go through there and just take up anything and just kind of peel it apart and then just start pulling it, and you'll get that effect. It's really easy to do.
Steve,
I might on Hunter's Life. It's been so long, I don't know.
Please make sure you check the description of the live tonight, Steve. We do have everyone's links posted there, and you will find a link to Bart's YouTube channel, A Hunter's Life, there as well. Sweet.
Awesome. Thank you, Bart, for sharing all that knowledge and expertise, man. It's great to see, and can't wait to see what you come up with this year, man.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, they got a new season of Hunter's Life, so
I know.
Very excited.
Gotta go check it out.
I got super jazzed when I saw that pop up.
Hey,
Yep.
I'm super jacked they come back with it. I was running out of ideas.
So these are some of the mushroom sheets that I want to say Rue sculpted, or did Alan sculpt? Or
I think I sculpted these ones. Oh yeah, I sculpted these ones.
Yeah, these are latex sheets in a plaster mold that we pulled out, and then we use them for costumes. We use them for walls. But for this purpose, it is on a wall. It's blended in with the same black silicone caulk. You can either pre-paint them or paint the mushrooms on the wall. I actually painted all of it at the same time, just to make sure that it was all uniform. But yeah, so attach the latex sheet to the wall with contact cement, which is probably the best thing that I've learned from Dark Hour and Alan is how to properly use contact cement, and that it just doesn't let go ever. So attach that, and then all around it is your black silicone. Basically, I just throw it on there where I want it, and then I smooth it out with either a sponge or a chip brush, and then once it starts to harden a little bit, I'll then start pulling my texture out of it. And this was painted with both, for the latex portions, painted with latex mask paint so that it doesn't eat it. And for everything else is just added, it's either dry brushed or rattle canned on top of the silicone. But it's just black silicone. And surprisingly, with like your black silicone, it does hold paint pretty well in comparison to like your clear and stuff like that. So had no issues with it coming out.
So what you do is you put on the black silicone and you chip brush it on, and then once it starts drying, then you create the textures.
Yeah. I typically wait maybe like 10-15 minutes just to where it kind of starts to set. Silicone takes a long time to actually cure, but once it gets any more set than it is when I first put it on, I can then start just pulling the texture out of it, and it doesn't just glob back up and start running. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and these the vines are made with moss cloth with silicone on top of them. The background wall is all rattle can painted beforehand. So yeah,
all these these mushroom sheets were actually made during one of our monster camps. In between, while we were waiting for things to dry, all of the students got together and we sculpted a bunch of mushrooms.
Well, that's great.
That's excellent usage of students.
Awesome. Shout out to Monster Camp students. They're awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Monster Camp students. Yeah, and we made these walls the day before Transworld just to show off these. So, yeah. This is just a close-up on a wall. Also with your water and alcohol, not mixed together in separate instances, but alcohol with spray paint will give you a more consistent like running. Water breaks it up to more where you get like the swirls and the thicker portions. So yeah, this is probably 1, 2, 3, 4 colors or so added onto the wall in different layers. So there's a yeah. This is fabric around the clock, just mangled fabric that was in the depths of dark hour that we found.
That was a
And
good find because that looks
yeah,
excellent.
yes. So we attached the clock, attached the fabric, ripped the holes, and then we covered it all with webbing. So yeah.
Nice.
Sean would like to know: are the vines the moss sheets you sell, or are they actual vines? I think there's some confusion about the moss
Sure.
cloth.
Sure. So they are the moss sheets that we sell. However, they are a little bit typically moss sheets are used to cover a wall panel. However, at the bottom of each of those wall panels, you're going to get about an extra foot for every sheet that you buy, and then we turn those into vines.
Yeah, the moss cloth sheets are actually 5 foot by 9 foot, and most wall panels are 4 foot by 8 foot. So you end up with a foot extra pretty much all the way around them. We take that foot extra, cut it into thin strips, and use it for a lot of detailing.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Sean wanted to chime in and say, always fun to do extra when you learn so much and you eat so well. So that sounds like a shout out to Shannon as well. So.
Yep. Sean was one of the ones that helped sculpt those mushrooms, I believe.
Excellent. Super
Right.
cool.
I honestly don't know where the body came from. It was really old when we found it. It didn't have too much of the color left on it. So we wanted to give this body and a chair some purpose. So some mangled wires, of course, the dangerous way. We melted them, and we melted the wires, and then airbrush painted the back of the chair to make it look like he had gone up. If anybody knows where this body came from, though, please let us know because I have no clue. But yeah, then some awesome blood and just a little bit of dry brushing to get some of the reds back in there. There's a further away picture. Oh, and he was missing a hand, so that got patched. And we attached an electrical box next to him and ran it all through the cool wicker chair we found.
That's awesome.
Lots of pictures of that.
Chuck would like to know what the alcohol technique, does the alcohol dry faster than using water?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So anything that we do when we're trying to dilute the spray paint with alcohol, it'll dry faster. Water, though, it is still an aerosol paint, though. That stuff dries so fast that's the primary reason why I started using it, was almost specifically because of how fast I could get things done. But yeah, so this is a operation board with a tentacle coming out of it. I won't give too much details on this. I can't. But it is just something I wanted to showcase. So the splatter effect on the operation board is actually a Montana marble spray paint in black. That it's not something that a lot of people use or know about, but it gives like really good string. It's basically adult like silly string that dries as a paint. You do get texture out of it as well, but Montana marble effect spray paint. We were going for the otherworldly tentacle coming out of the game board look, and I think that spray paint gives a cool, like, weird not of this earth splatter. So that's what I use.
Boston, I'm curious what you had to say in terms of tech to go along with this, dude, because
yeah,
I remember that game.
So it's just a set piece, so it just looks pretty. It doesn't actually work.
Okay.
But this does show off the lighting behind the walls. We went like maybe a little bit too hard, but you can see behind the slats there's also foliage. There's foliage and lighting between all of the wall panels. The reason we wanted to do that is because it's supposed to give this treehouse, like, past those like poorly placed up boards is outside, and so we really wanted to convey that to people who were looking, because that's when you're gonna blow by that most of the time. But for those people who do look and notice the leaves in between the walls, that's just like we really went deep with the detail, even down to that part.
That's very cool. Very cool. And Trish says about she loved the adult silly string.
That's true. Awesome. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
This is this was it was kind of already put together when I found it. It was just this cool double stacked cabinet that I found in the depths of Dark Hour's many depths that it has, and it was actually a part of the upside down room. So I attached some weird fabric around the base of it and all around it to give it at least some type of like depth and character and texture. And yeah, we hung some bottles and did the thing, webbed it up with Bart's favorite tool ever.
Boy, Bart loves that web gun. Oh,
So this
is a lawnmower.
Yeah, this is a lawnmower. This is a me and Rue project. All of that is expandable foam. In specific, I want to say it's Flex 5 foam from Petit. Yeah, like I think it's a variable 5 to 10 flex foam that we mix together. And the thing that we wanted to achieve on this is not only a fleshy texture, but also an animated looking, like droopy texture on it. So we poured the Flex 5 foam in the spaces in which we wanted it to droop. And
Yeah, and we just
airbrush.
let it do what it does, and then
let it do what it does, and then did airbrush, and of course the topping of Rue. Don't know what it's called. Rue flesh goo.
Yeah,
So
a custom Rue blood.
Yes, custom Rue
Gotcha.
blood and some
Okay.
actual Rue blood as well.
Dude, that definitely looks like some nasty shit right there.
Yeah.
Like don't even touch it type stuff.
Yeah. This is just a stack of junk because that's the stuff we like. We like to make stacks of junk, be a little bit of an organized chaos, and give it the old Bart Butler treatment. So
Nice. And they do want to know what is the web gun. What's the brand?
Yes.
It is not. The
Yeah.
one that we mostly use at Dark Hour is actually it's a home built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
it's
Damn, that don't help.
made
us.
it ourselves. It's a super hot glue gun in the first place that it runs super ridiculously hot and will burn the ever-loving crap out of you.
Yeah, and of course,
Bart does very well.
Yes, it does.
And then it's got an airline hooked up through it. So.
and of
I
course,
think
Robert
actually
would like.
Alan has a tutorial on how to make one on his. his
And that's the one that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So Stiltbeast Studios, YouTube Wednesday.
YouTube Wednesday.
And of course, Robert would like to know how much weird fabric is actually available at Dark Hour.
You don't want to know. It's the part of the backstage tours you don't get. So
Yeah, and
We
we've also heard the depths of the depths of the depths. Yeah.
We could open a very weird Joanne's just by ourselves. So
yeah.
Oh, Alan's stepping it up and saying we will make a YouTube video.
All right.
for everyone.
I swear you had one.
There you
Alan.
go.
Because I learned how to make one from you. I'm pretty sure. And even before I knew you.
Hey, bro, I got like 4 web guns, man. It takes me like a half hour to get one corner. But I'm diligent. You know what I'm saying?
I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab bars. So I can show
All
us
right.
what it looks
I
like.
shall be wee hours into the night. You know.
I just have to acknowledge Stacy. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please, by all means. Yes, Stacy is absolutely confirming of the so much weird fabric.
Yes, Stacy is one of our fabric keepers, so she knows. But yeah, this is a front shot of the of the nasty, goopy lawnmower guy. Boston ran the lights. Rue did the general mangling of all these metal parts, and then I finished it off. So, yeah, and
Yeah.
the bear trap mouth.
Yeah, so something you know, when talking to these two, what they wanted for their vision of this monster is we wanted something to give it life. You know, it's got this motion of all the dripping and stuff that they achieved, but we wanted to give it character because it's such a unique and fun you know, sort of character. So those are old lamps that I think Rue just like gave to me and was like, here. And so we
I went and bought them from Goodwill.
Yeah, we gutted those and then ran wires, which talk to your tech people. If you do the goopy stuff, talk to your tech people first, because this afterwards would have been a nightmare. So I'm glad they got me. But those lights are actually animated, so they fade in and out, and he blinks and stuff like that. And those light bulbs are all 12 volt, so it's not going to catch any of this foam on fire or anything. But that was the way that we wanted to give it more animation and life.
Mm-hmm. And we actually bent the buckets a little bit to give him kind of an angry slope to the outside eyes, that he's actually got the bent eyebrows kind of. So he's got the angry eyebrows.
Well, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to go back tomorrow and watch the whole show and with my pen, because I'm like, I ain't got a damn pencil or nothing around here. Damn it. First time ever.
So
that is our web gun, though.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
But yeah, that's got a air fitting and then a brass, a copper tube run up through it. That copper tube comes out, and this is where our air hose connects. It runs through the web gun, so as it drips the webbing out, it actually blows it out. So big, bad, super badass web gun.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
I triple dog dare you to touch it when it's hot.
No.
No.
I think hopefully Alan will make that impact YouTube Wednesday.
We've all accidentally touched it when it was hot, and doing it on purpose is not on the list. Not on the list. But yeah, this picture is a culmination of a lot of the things we've already talked about. It has the Montana marble effect spray paint to give that weird otherworldly texture all over the walls. It also has the wood glue and the sawdust, and wood stain and rattle can distressing. It has all the things.
I feel like I'm not part of the club that is the rattle can. Please explain this. Please explain rattle can spray painting.
Gladly. Really, it works. If you think about like how you paint with house paint, how you lay down some water, you apply your house paint, then you smooth it out to get all of the big obnoxious strips out of it and stuff like that. It's the same concept, except if you want it to be so this picture is actually a good, like, in above the picture is actually a good demonstration. So above the picture, there are like the lines that run straight down the wall, go all the way to the floor. That is thinned out with alcohol. So alcohol on the wall, quickly spray, alcohol more. It gives us the thin lines that you would typically get out of your house paint. And then when I want thicker stuff, or I want it to look a little bit more chunky in areas, I'll do the same thing, but with water, because water will just, on the wall, it'll break it apart and have it like cascade down the water trail. Yeah. And then for like the white speckles, I just sprayed water on the wall. I have a splatter tip on for my spray paint cans. I'm okay. So transparently, I'm a hoodlum, and I have a lot of okay.
I was wondering where this was going. I was like, man, he's really knowledgeable about this.
So I'm a bit of a hoodlum. I have probably about 60 tips for my spray paint cans, and I use a lot of them. And so this, like, to get those splatters on the wall, I have a splatter tip for my spray paint can that if I wet a section and I spray it and it goes. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Teddy. I appreciate it so much.
No problem. So yeah, there's those are books. They're gross. I don't know with the lamp.
Books and wadded up newspaper.
Yeah, basically the Well, they're pages from the books,
Or
but it's
pages
just to
from the
fill the
books, yeah.
space. I'm a big fan of, if I'm gonna have chaos, I want it to be full chaos. I don't want to leave any gaps when I'm doing my details. So any of those spaces were just spaces where I couldn't fit a book. So I'd rip out pages and cover them in spray adhesive and shove them in, and then do a rubberized coat on top. So when customers, like, if they want to grab it or try to tear it, it's a lot harder. So anytime I use paper, I do a rubberized coat, because it's clear. You can't really see it. It mats it a little bit, but it just keeps it from getting destroyed. That's a German schmear. It's a joint compound on top of your typical brick panels. That was a quick job that we did right before we opened to give some life to some brick panels that we had. A lot of joint compound, though, like a lot.
What's the best way of smearing that on, I guess?
Just your typical, like, drywall spatula. Is that what that's called? I don't know what that thing is
Yeah.
called, but the big long one, yeah, just smeared on.
Trowel.
Painted like a French girl, a trowel. Yeah, that's more chair, more wall. Those are the stacked chairs from the room that Rue actually showed, with paint effects on the walls and stuff like that. And Bart's favorite tool ever. A lot of that. Yeah, all rattle can. It's just a mirror that we found, and we wanted to showcase it in Grandma's room, so did some rattle can distressing on that as well.
Excellent. Katrina would like to know, maybe Boston, you can answer this one for us. What is one technique you tried and will never do again?
Oh boy. Oh man. I'm trying to think.
Is it that web gun? Is that it? And you're just not going to say it?
No, the web gun is good. The web gun is good. It's hard
You gotta go back.
there's a lot of stuff that I try, or, like, you know, Bart said we experiment a lot. Like, that's the entire thing. You know, a lot of people don't figure things out by, like, you can't look up a lot of, like, videos on this other than what's already been covered. But anything that has failed for something particular, but it always makes me go, oh wait, no, that works perfect for this. And so I don't think there's anything I've blatantly just been like, nope, never using this again. It's more just, you know, oh, I can use this in another area. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the only things that I would kind of list as far as that goes are just things that take way too long to do.
Time constraining. Okay.
That I can find a faster way to do it. That's about all.
What's going on with this picture, man? This shit's looking crazy.
This is a trifecta between myself, Boston, and Rue, so I'll let them go ahead and cover their parts.
So wood representative again. Hi. We wanted to make it look like this thing was breaking through the wall, with a lot of dimension. So behind all of the, you know, the pieces of cut wood, it's just 2x4s in, like, the sketchiest positions you could imagine. Like, it does not look good behind there, but the purpose of that was to be able to get all of these slats into different angles and really, you know, make it look like it's bokeh'd out, almost like a flower. Like, think of it like layering of petals. And then these are just scrap pieces of plywood that we had from wall panels and stuff like that. I didn't do anything too specific to the end. I just had 30 minutes of hard grunting and breaking them over my knees. And it gives you a pretty nice edge there. So, yeah.
Boston also ran the electronics for it, because there's a picture previous that was shown that where it's lit up. It's actually that one. Yeah.
That's a
so that's the finished version of it. But yeah, so he ran all the electronics.
That looks cool. So,
And the foam in the middle of that is actually it is F5 foam for the main part of it, and it was so the metal thing is actually, it's like a basket, like funnel shape, and I put plastic covering the whole thing of it, and then did the foam inside of it that way. And then when I pulled the foam out, I had the shape basically because I had to leave it hollow on the backside of it. So I had to do it over a cup in the middle of this funnel in order to get it hollow on the inside of it. And then because we had to get the eyeball to be able to light up like that in the middle of it. And then it was some Loctite foam on the outside of it in order to give it kind of the veining, because once you put on Loctite foam, if you wait for 4 or 5 minutes, then you can kind of sculpt it with your fingers and actually create designs and things like that out of because Loctite foam skins unlike great stuff. So that's why we use Loctite foam.
You know, I think if I was going through a haunt and walked in and seen that, I would have been like, what the hell? That's, you know, like, just like, who even thought of that? What is it?
This is the Vardos in our werewolf area of Dark Hour, and I helped paint a lot of this and helped do a lot of the it's getting nitty gritty on the painting, you know, little tiny detail over and over and over, and just lots and lots and lots of detail in order to really get a cool effect. And that's,
there you go.
Yeah.
That's it under a light.
That's where I got to get the assistant.
Yep.
This is
Like that
Not
angle.
that I would ever have one.
actually in the black light designs. You can see that wagon wheel. Those wagon wheels took me forever to paint.
Mm.
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
And we are an indoor haunt, so everything that we do that's foliage and trees or things like that, we have to create ourselves. And there's actually a background right there past the moon on the left side where you can see the tops of some trees. That is a really cool technique of painting layer after layer. You do a first layer of trees, then you mist over it, do another layer of trees, mist over that, all of it over again. So you create this depth of everything kind of disappearing backwards and forwards. So your trees stand out or sharper when they get closer to you.
Okay. The moon is projected? Is that what we heard?
It is not. It is backlit. It
Backlit.
is a backlit moon. And
Okay.
you don't see the square that you can see there in actual lighting. So you just see the moon.
Gotcha.
This is the Goblin Throne. And actually, this room is actually blacklight reactive, and that whole chair is actually green and blacklight reactive. It started out that this was an ice throne that we had at Dark Hour, that it was all built up previously, and we needed a throne for our Goblin Queen, which I just took every pretty much piece of bone and skeleton that we had laying around backstage and just started attaching it onto it. Lots and lots of Loctite foam. And
I'm going to start using that Loctite foam, man. This sounds like it.
Yeah.
oh, there you go.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
That's what it looks like in actual lighting. But it's, just created a really cool throne. I think that's probably my favorite set piece I've ever built.
It's
Really great.
I mean,
Yep.
that looks amazing. I won't even turn the lights out.
It looks really good in black light. So
Yeah.
and it's all dry brushed in blacklight reactive paint.
Do you find the more you layer your texture, the more realistic it feels? That's a good question.
Yes, very much.
Mhm.
Layers upon layers upon layers. And the more layering you do on it, the more textures you get out of it. And this whole room is actually painted in Alan's technique that he shows, a stone painting technique that's all done in blacklight.
From the
where
Scenic Painting 101 series.
I think it's Scenic Painting 6, where he shows how to paint stonework.
Okay.
This room and the next are both painted like that.
Nice. Ooh. That's just gross and wonderful.
This is our hive queen, our hive witch, Corva. She is the insect witch, the queen of swarms, or the witch of swarms. And these are egg sacs that are hanging from the top of the room down, and they're all connected with webbing and such. That there's a lot to explain here, but basically those are child, the kids' playground balls that you can get, the ones that you see in the giant bins at Walmart, and then it's all covered, plastic wrap, shrink wrapped together, and painted. There's some better pictures of it. Shrink wrap together, and then lots of paint layers, and get into the depths with the darker stuff, and then paint them all yellow on the outside, and then smear a lot of brown silicone caulking was smeared all over a lot of this. Teddy did a lot of that stuff. That he did a lot of the distressing in this room.
It's great.
Great question from Chad. In the design process, what comes first, the painting or the lighting?
What should come first, or what generally does? You're welcome, Boston.
I really think it just depends on your process. Because in this analogy, I'll say if Teddy is the distressing, I'm the lighting. That's usually kind of where we fall into. It kind of just depends. We've done it both ways. There's been times where Teddy will show me something and be like, light it. And then there's times where I have a very specific idea of what I want the lighting to look like. And then you go, like Teddy goes in the scene and does it in lighting. So I don't think there's a bad way to do it. I just think you have to think about it. I think if it's unplanned, do it always in show lighting. But it's not absolutely necessary. Everything can be done with planning or, with vision.
This is the Three Sisters. This is kind of just the wall shrine of what is in the room there. I think the only things I actually did here was the latex pulls for those giant heads.
Wow.
And
you said giant heads. What are we talking about?
Those heads are huge. Those are about, the smaller ones are about 2 foot tall, and then the big center ones about 3 to 4 foot tall.
Okay.
And
wow.
Those are just great big latex pulls, and they've been, affixed to the wall and then painted, and there's a nice little shrine in front of them built up.
Incredible.
This is a cockroach hallway, actually, and the whole hallway is covered in lots of different webbing, and it's shrink wrap webs mostly in here, with web gun webs done over the top of it. And all those little tiny specks you can see across everything are individual little cockroaches done up all over everything. That we did a intensive test on seeing what we could glue those on with the best. I can't even remember what adhesive we actually ended up with. Alan, can you answer that? What adhesive we actually used for our cockroaches?
Yeah.
I know he's
says,
watching, so.
hate roaches, love the scene.
Lots of, as Alan said,
Katrina?
lots of our scenes are collaborations from
the teamwork.
People working on.
Yep. Oh yeah. What Shane would like to know? What did you use for the coloring on that?
On which one? On the cockroach hallway?
I think I think yep. Oh, and there's your answer. E6000 for gluing rubber cockroaches.
That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Stain. That was wood stain.
Wood stain.
Mostly, yeah. Watered down wood stain.
And amber shellac.
And
And
then
Dude, I was going to say, I was like, what? It's not amber shellac? Come on.
there's something there. That giant flower you showed a little while ago was another fun blacklight thing that we did in there, and it's all the vines are all built up with pool noodles wrapped around each other, and we actually created texture on the outside of those vines using the spray-on contact cement, and then hit it with a heat gun in order to create that nice bubbling, not regular texture effect across it. And then the flower itself is a giant worm type puppet, again, that's 3 foot across, and then the petals are added to the outside of it.
Very cool.
Crazy Jim's Bait Shack. Some more of that Bait Shack in here. So many people worked on this.
I just want to show this last photo here.
Oh yeah, it's the this scene is amazing, and another scene that just about everybody at Dark Hour worked on in some way, shape, or form. This was the trees on the background walls are using the same layering effect, that you do, some farther away, some closer, by building up those. Do the farther away ones, mist them back. Do another layer, mist those back, and then everything builds up in different layers. The wigwams themselves are mostly covered in painter's cloth canvas. They're actual built up 2x4 structure, or not 2x4 structures. They are 2x4 mounted bases with PVC pipe bows that we actually split the PVC pipes in half in order to give them a little bit more flex so that we can build up the bows on them. And they're actually really, really sturdy because of being covered in all that canvas and adhesive gluing everything together. They're actually very sturdy.
That's like crazy. I wouldn't even know what I would be thinking if I walked into that.
100%, I would walk into the
Is that animated or is that real? I'm not sure what that is.
The birch trees and the 3-dimensional ones in the center of the room. Can you tell me what those are?
Okay, those are, so they're a 2x4 standing straight up the center of them, and then it's covered in concrete form pipes that are up the center across the 2x4. 2x4 holds everything together. There's a cable to the ceiling that actually holds it all straight up and down, and then the whole tube itself is wrapped in white cling wrap. And then we went down each one and just did black spray paint stripes.
Stripes, they're okay.
Just
awesome.
used I created a little half semicircle that could fit against the tree, and then mist it with the black really quick so you get a nice sharp line.
This is JC Smith says, geez, I really need to get to Dark Hour. We all do, JC.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I want to say whoever took this photo captured a ghost here, I think, on the right side.
That was
very
There's actually another photo of this room that had the body in the center of it. That's a real fun part of this room also that really is fun.
Sean would like to know, Rue, do you texture your floors and your scenes throughout the haunt?
Depends on the scene, really. A lot of it really isn't in Dark Hour. A lot of it's concrete, but it's very painted and been painted at times and worn off and worn through. But it doesn't look like regular concrete for most of it. It's been worn, and some of it's covered in grass, and some of it's and actually in the wigwam room, especially the whole floor is actually painted white because it's supposed to be snowing in there, and it actually does snow in there. We have snow machines that blow snow into that room. The floor is painted white with texture, extra grip texture, so it doesn't get slippery.
Awesome.
Boston, Rue, Teddy, thank you guys. Keep up the great work. That was some amazing fucking work you guys just showed.
Bart,
Thank
yep.
you.
Yeah, no, I think Pandora should put, just because it's like the details in the devil, that she should like take all the pictures that they both showed that we haven't been able to get to and do a post tomorrow.
Uh-oh. Pressure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pictures. We got through about 90% of them, 95% of everybody.
We did all right. I think we
good.
did all right. I'm so very happy that we were able to get through as much as we could with all of you. Bart, Rue, Teddy, Boston, you guys are all amazing. We're so glad to have the four of you on tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge
It's great
with
to be
us.
here. It was so much fun.
Truly.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, when you see that shit in my haunt, then you know where it came from. See, I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll give you the credit. I'm like, I got this from Bart, Rue, Teddy, Boss. I got that from you.
There you go, Bart.
Miss you, Alan.
Yeah. And lots love this show, so thank you guys so very much. And again, there are just I'm just gonna say it, a metric ass ton of questions that I couldn't get to tonight, so if you guys could go back through and take a peek, it would be so grateful. And for that, not just for the time you spent tonight, but for the time that you're gonna have to spend doing that too.
Oh, we will.
Thank you. And Billy Cheese, what you got for me?
I got you with prizes.
Doing the prizes.
Ah, all right.
Hey, prizes.
All right, we got prizes.
Segue.
Yes. All right. So if I call your name for a prize tonight, if you could please reach out to me via Facebook Messenger no later than late Sunday night. Within reason Sunday night. That would be fantastic. Again, no later than Sunday night. Otherwise, we do need to roll the prizes over to another show. For our winners tonight, we have, for the Halloween Shirt Company, a free shirt to Trish Mybers. From Unsub Masks, the free mask, John C. Bowman. Congratulations, John. From Atmos Effects, the Hall of Haunts free download to Stephen Freeman. Congratulations, Stephen. From Ned's LEDs, 12-volt deluxe sampler pack to J.C. Smith. Congratulations, J.C. Monsters Alive, $25 off. We have Anthony Lord again.
Love you, David.
For Rotten Prop Works, set of zombie arms, Tony Citro. Congratulations, Tony. Toxic Effects, Rotten Pumpkin number 4, Alex Godwin. Congratulations, Alex.
Yay, Alex. Yay, Alex.
Fright Night Studios, Bloody Hatchet, Chad Spear. Congratulations, Chad. The Cobwebs and Candlesticks, flat-backed unfinished skulls goes to Rob Beach. Congratulations, Rob.
All right, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Drop Dead Design Studios, 25% off. Molly Barry Redfern. Congratulations, Molly. The Nightmare Makers, 1 unfinished skull goes to Terry Treffry. 916 Productions, $25 off. Chuck Melton. Congratulations, Chuck. Froggy's Fog, Gallon of Bog Fog, Mike's Haunted Woodworks. Congratulations, Mike's Haunted Woodworks.
It's covered.
From Horror Ornaments, 1 free ornament to Chad Steckley. Congratulations, Chad. Fright Props, $50 off to Aaron Stoliker. Congratulations, Aaron. Scarlet Badges, $50 worth of free badges goes to Mark Trailer. Haunted Hills Productions, free mask goes to Nicole Montroy. Congratulations, Nicole. And Monster Misfits, free bottle of Monster Blood goes to Beth Spiker. Congratulations, Beth.
Everybody.
Congratulations to all our winners. Again, please contact me via Facebook Messenger no later than Sunday night to claim your prize. If you don't hear back from me until Monday, please don't panic. I will get back to you. I do promise that. And thank you so much to all our sponsors for yet again another season of amazing prizes. We are super, super grateful to them. So please make sure that you go to them first for all your haunt needs. Oh, you haunt needs. Thank you again to our wonderful guests. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Congratulations to our winners. Whew.
And we will be back in 2 weeks with
2 weeks. 2 weeks. We have actor training and character development show coming up for you guys in 2 weeks. We're super excited about that. So.
Get ready. I'm coming in character, so it's going to be fun. No, I'm just
Sweet.
kidding. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Do it. I dare you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you
everybody.
so much. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks,
We
guys,
appreciate
for
y'all.
Thank you.
Love
guys.
you. Thank you for you. Peace. We out.